Good afternoon. My name is Russell Geis with Construction Specialties. With me today is Jeffrey Blake. We are going to demonstrate the installation of a vertical line louver, particularly our RS-5800. You can see here we have two sections that we're going to have a mullion condition on the two. Normally, if it was this small, it would be one section, but for the purpose of this training video, we wanted to show you the installation of two mullions coming together. So the first thing what we're going to do with this, like any other louvered opening, is we're going to install the sill pan. And when we do that, we're going to want to put two beads of silicone right across the one close to the front of the louver opening, and then another one a little farther back. This way you have two layers of protection. You don't want to rely on just one. If you want to swirl it back and forth, if you find that that works good, you can do that as well. So what we do is after you get the sill pan, you put it in there and then you smash that silicone up in between the sill pan and the opening itself. What I also recommend doing is throwing another layer, another line of sealant right across the top edge of the sill pan where it meets the opening. The reason I recommend that is, God forbid, when you seal the louver jam into the opening, or even the head too, if water gets its way to the outside here and it runs down, if you don't seal the top of that sill pan, water is going to get down in between the sill pan and your substrate opening itself, and then back into the building. If you do this line here, it's just going to run down and it's going to come right into the sill pan, and the sill pan can do its job and get that water out the front of the louver. So we've got a sill pan in the opening now. Next thing we're going to do is mount clip angles into it. And in order to do that, typically on a vertical line louver, clip angles are going to be at the head and the sill only. It could either be a continuous, one long clip angle, or it could be individual ones. A lot of factors go into that decision making, but it'll be determined by the time you get your shop drawings what's going to be needed. So when you do the clip angle in the sill pan, you're gonna, first things first, is measure the sill of the louver here, because even though if we say it's a 5-inch deep louver, the jam could be one dimension, and then the sill, because it's got a return leg on the back, it's going to be a material thickness deeper than the jams themselves. So your mounting conditions can fluctuate a material thickness about 060, 080, somewhere around that ballpark. So just measure that distance first before you start marking your opening and where those clip angles are going to fall. So in this particular install, we're going to have clip angles in a normal orientation as opposed to a reverse installation. You can look at that. We talk about that in our general louver video that you can watch. So Jeff's going to drill a couple holes here, or pretend to. And that's going through the sill pan and into the substrate below. If you're not going into a substrate, something is wrong. The substrate's supposed to be there because we're drilling holes to do that connection to transfer the load from the louver to the structure. So if you're not going to the structure, you're not properly transferring the load. So this particular one, we've got two clip angles here with two connections in each of them. And the way we've designed this is so that we can just use a bolted connection. Typically, probably your sill conditions, unless you're going into like a steel channel or like an angle, you're gonna just do a threaded, a fastener, a screw or of some kind, not a bolted connection. This is what I'm trying to get at. Now, before you actually install the clip angle, one thing I want to point out is because we've drilled holes into the sill pan, what we want to make sure to do is run a bead of silicone around any of those penetrations, and maybe even get some down into the penetration itself, into that hole. And then you take that clip angle And just like you did with the Sill Pan, you smash it, you smash that clip angle down onto that silicone. And then you're gonna wanna go and run around the perimeter of that clip angle where it interacts with the Sill Pan so that no water can get between the Sill Pan and the clip angle itself and down into those holes. And then the final step that you're gonna do with the clip angles here, after you've mounted the fasteners to the substrate, is you're gonna go back and also you're gonna seal those fastener heads themselves. So you've caulked the perimeter of the clip angle to the Sill Pan, and you've now also caulked the penetration itself. And make sure to tool that silicone to make sure it gets a good adhesion to all those components. All right, so as you notice, we've now spun our installation rig around so you can see the back of it. Jeff had already previously installed both clip angles at the sill. We've now also installed them at the head here as well. It's good to leave them a little loose in case you need to move things around. The holes usually are a little oversized to give you a little clearance to move it around a little bit. So first things first, we're gonna use a horseshoe shim here, and we're gonna put that down towards the back of the louver where the louver sill is gonna rest so that we can get that proper caulk slot all around it. For this particular size, what we ended up doing was about an 1/8 inch all around. Quarter inch is probably more common. If you needed to do a clip angle with a reverse install, which means it kind of like comes in alongside the louver, you're probably gonna have to open up to a 1/2 inch or more to get clearance for the clip angle and the fastener heads. So if you think you need to do that, we need to know that in advance to work out through shop drawings. So we're gonna use 2 of these guys. And then again, when you're dealing with multiple sections, we wanna have you start installing, if you're looking at the elevation of the building, from left to right. So Jeff's gonna start with this one here. Let me get that in. And we're gonna throw a couple screws in just to hold it in place. So that'll be that one. And then we're gonna put the other one in here now too. All right, so now the 2 are together. And we're gonna go, and now we're gonna drive another fastener in to hold it into place here. All right, so one thing you'll notice right now is my Sill Pan has holes in the back of it. Now, the reason we have those in there, and that's something you're gonna have to do in the field, depending on the louver condition itself, we've got the clip angles here, a narrow gap with the Sill Pan, and of about, I don't know, maybe 2 inches. And 2 inches, it's just not enough space to get into this cavity here with any tool in order to drive the screws into the clip angle. And because we had to seal the clip angles all around the perimeter of it, we need those clip angles installed before we put the louver in place. The alternative, if you wanted, is, again, all this worked out during shop drawings, is we would make the Sill Pan so this surface, this back leg here, goes right up against the back of the louver, and you can actually drill your hole, your fasteners for the clip. The clip will be on the outside of the Sill Pan, but you can go right through the clip angle, into the Sill Pan, into the back of the louver, and they're all right up against each other. If you do that, then you don't need these clearance holes here. With these here, again, that's basically so I can get an extension on my driver, and I can come in here and I can land those screws as needed. Other times where you may not be able to access in here and you need to do this is when you have insulated blank off on the back of the louver. That insulated blank off panel is probably going to come to within 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, maybe an inch at most from the top of the sill pan. Definitely close enough so you're not getting anything in here to attach any screws. So that's why we end up having to have these holes in here. So once you're done installing all the clip angles here, you're gonna just do a bed of sealant around each of the penetrations, the holes, and then get some loose metal. If you need us to provide it, we can, if it's finished the same. And you're gonna just put it right on top of that and smash it right in there. And I would just recommend going around the perimeter of it again, just like the clip angles, so you have that extra layer of seal and protecting all of that. So now we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna finish installing all of these clip angles, these fasteners. All right, and that wraps that up. The only thing left to do is go to the front of the louver, and either you as the installer, or if you have a subcontractor who's doing all of the sealing on the job, they're gonna come back and seal that louver into the opening. So we'll spin that louver around and just kind of talk briefly about that. So you notice we're now looking back at the front of the louver. A couple things: when you caulk it, you're just gonna put a backer bar in all around it and then seal it. The one thing I recommend not doing is sealing the sill pan to the sill of the louver. So this bottom joint here. The reason you don't wanna do that is some of the louvers that we have a lot of drain holes in the sill of the louver for getting rid of a lot of water coming down through that louver. And if you seal that, you're gonna end up causing to block it up and it's gonna overflow out the back. And even if it's not one of those, if it's the one that doesn't have those drain holes, you still want water to be able to weep its way out of that sill pan. That's the whole reason for it, is to catch water and make it flush out. So if you do have to seal the sill pan to the louver, we recommend you use weep holes at some frequency that we can work out during shop drawing review. Probably around like 12 inches, I'd say, on average. But other than that, that's it. That's all you need to do to install a vertical line louver, especially our RS-5800. Thank you.